Electric. General Electric was paying in taxes. General Electric last year made $14.2 billion in profit.
How much more money you think you're going to make?
Not only did they pay $0 in taxes, but they actually claimed a $3.2 billion tax credit. General Motors, who made $14.2 million in profit.
You still paying?
Between the year 1998 and 2005, 57% of U.S. companies paid no federal income taxes for at least one of those years. And from 2008 to 2010, the top U.S. companies paid less than 5%. Chevron, a multi-billion-dollar company, paid less than 5% in taxes. Tell me how much you're paying in taxes. A lot. Merck paid 5%. Hewlett-Packard paid 3% in taxes for the whole year.
Think about who you are.
Citigroup and Bank of America, who received billions in bailouts, at least 2 of those years actually didn't even, not only didn't pay any taxes, but again, received the tax credit. And I want to take just one example here that's a little bit different. We look at Phil Knight, who owns Nike. The 1% of the 1%, we'll call him. He's worth $13.1 billion. The Oregon budget deficit is $3.5 billion for 2012 and 2013 put together. If we taxed Phil Knight at the level that we did in 1980, when the tax bracket was 70%, that would net $9 billion. Not only would we not have a budget deficit in the state of Oregon, not one child would be thrown off of health care, not one elderly person would not be allowed to have medical care in their home, not one more school would be closed. And on top of that, there would be a surplus to create jobs in this country. There would be a surplus to rebuild high-speed rail in this country if we did this on the level all around the world. There would be funding for all of these different things that they are cutting today.
Stop it. Stop it. You can stop it.
But I think I'm gonna just spend a couple more. Sounds great. How the hell can we how can we actually make this a reality? How can we tax the rich, and how can we end the wars? Because it's easier said than done, obviously. And then the other question I want to talk about is not only how do we win these, but actually how do we create a different society as well. So the first question is, how can we do this? And I think we're actually beginning to understand, and we're beginning to mobilize for the fight back that we need to make this happen. We've realized that the first thing we need to do is we need to fight back, and all of us are beginning to do that here today. They did it in Madison, Wisconsin. They did it on the picket lines of Verizon. They did it in Egypt and in Tunisia. And we're doing it here today in Portland.
It don't matter where the world can succeed.
But we have to be absolutely critical about this. Not only do we need to continue the Occupy movement, but we need to grow it. And we need to connect it to other struggles as well. We need to take on the wars in this country. We need to take on racism in this country. We need to take on the death penalty in this country. We have to take on sexism in this country, where Planned Parenthood is being attacked and people are not allowed, the women's right to choose is being taken away. And we need to make sure we need to take on homophobia and all of these different struggles around this country to connect people together and bring in these struggles. We have to take that up, because that is how they divide us. That is how that 1% has always divided us.
Uniting your power.
But I think we also have to talk about another thing, which is occupying this amazing movement, which has, breathed life into the United States and begun the fight back, is just the beginning. The place that the 1%, that Wall Street, that the corporations really hurt is in their pocketbooks. It's in their factories. It's in those buildings right there. It's at people's workplaces. So as we take up all these issues, we also need to begin to discuss how it is that workers in this country can begin to not only occupy Portland, but how the hell do we occupy our workplace? To do that, we have to do several things. The first thing we need to do is we have to build an independent left in this country that is independent of the Democrats that have year after year defeated and co-opted every single social movement that has been built in this country. We have to break from the Democrats. It was the people of Madison who were fighting to stop the busting of the unions, to stop the budget cuts. And they were there occupying their capital. And it was Democratic candidates who took them the microphone and literally led them out of Madison, promising that it was a recall campaign that would win these results. But we know, as we see here, that our power is not in electoral politics where the richest people in this country can buy off both candidates as they do year in and year out. Our power is here on the streets and in our workplaces.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Whoever they want in there, they'll be in there.
And I think this is the way that we can tax the rich, end the wars, and win these things. But I think also for all of us, every single one of us, we know that the reforms that were won yesterday can be taken away from us tomorrow. We know that if we tax the rich and end the wars today, that they'll be taking those things away again. Just like they took away the regulations against the banks, just like they've dismantled any kind of social services that we have in this country and they're attempting to do right now. And that's why we need to not only fight for those things, but also realize that we want a world where no union gets busted again, where no worker gets thrown on the streets,
To the people of the world,
where not one person who wants a job is not able to have a job,
to the people of the world,
where there is not another gay bashing in this country, where we never have to see an oil spill because a company is trying to make more profits, where we never see another attack on Planned Parenthood and the rights of women to control their bodies again. And where we never see another drug Davis put to death in this country again.
Yeah! Woo!
Now, some people have said that the way that we make a revolution, the way that we can fundamentally change this society is by not talking about politics. That what we need to do is we need to just, occupy parks and begin to create a society here. And I think that's a start, but I think we have to be absolutely clear. We have to take up political demands. We have to talk about politics. We have to bring in people into this movement. We have to grow the movement. And it's out of that process of fighting for all of those things that people begin to realize that we together can make a better society.
Yes!
It is out of occupying places like this. It is out of organizing our workplaces. It is out of fighting and having victories for reforms that we begin to see that we can make a revolution in this country.
See what it says? Stop talking free. Stop it. Stop it. People,
Somebody wants
unite. Be together.
Okay, I